All right, listeners. Well, I have a special treat for you this evening. Two people who are no stranger to the podcast. I have the Happy Home Inspector himself, Wally Conway, and I have P. Nathan Thornberry. Uh,
Yo,
yeah, and they're going to talk about a tour that we're going on. And we did it once before, and I think our other members are Sean Rushback. Am I saying that correctly?
Ross
And
Bach.
Rossbach, and then Rob Lemoyne too. And both these guys are killing it. So I learned a lot, and Wally, I learned a lot on the plane talking to these guys. So it was a high-level conversation in more ways than one. But anyway, I'm going to turn it over to you guys. Tell us a little bit about the tour. Where's it going to be? Why should I attend if I'm a home inspector, and what's in it for me?
I'll start with the dates and some of the logistical stuff there, Preston. So thanks again for having us on. We're going to be in Houston, Texas on Tuesday, February the 26th, and that's for a 3-hour event at the DoubleTree by Hilton on Airport Boulevard in Houston. So that's 3 to 6 p.m. Every single one of these events will have food and drink, by the way, a whole bunch of giveaways, at least $500 and free stuff for everybody. And we're also going to do some drawings for, there's going to be 3 drawings this time around. So we're going to do a drawing for your CMI registration, paid for courtesy of Internachi and the Certified Master Inspector Board and Mr. Nick Grimico, as well as 1 custom video and also 2,500 custom designed brochures. We're going to be giving those away at each one. So we're going to start in Houston on Tuesday, February the 26th, then shoot over to Charleston, South Carolina for Wednesday, February the 27th. We'll be at the DoubleTree there, and that'll be from 3 to 6 p.m. as well. And then the next day we'll be in Orlando at the Hilton Orlando Bonnet Creek, and that'll be from noon to 3 p.m. And coincidentally, if you go online, you will find these tour dates coincide perfectly with both the locations, times, and cities as the Gin Blossoms, the band from the mid-'90s.
I was listening to Allison Road just about an hour ago. So is there any cost?
Until I hear it from you.
Yeah. Is there any cost for this, Nathan?
So for like 99% of everybody, and candidly, if cost is really in the way, send me an email. I'll take care of it. Tickets are $100 unless you're an Internachi member or a user of any of our products, which is pretty much like everybody in the home inspection world. So if you happen to not fit one of those classifications and the $100 is really keeping you from it, send me an email, nathan@nathan.tv.
Cool. Yeah, and I know everybody who's hitting the stage is, over $1 million. So it's, these guys, man, they're teaching me stuff. So it's definitely worth your time. How long is it? Probably like each person speaks like 30 minutes, I think, ish. Is that correct?
30 to 45 minutes each. And we were 3.5 hours last time. We're going to try to, keep it moving. This will be our second time doing it. We've done it in 3 cities already. So it should be a little bit smoother, a little wilder, maybe less inappropriate. I don't know. We'll try.
Well, my next question is directed at the Happy Home Inspector himself, Mr. Wally Conway. This guy's been a real hero of mine for a long time, and I went on tour with him. And the guy is like probably the best presenter in the home inspection space. And he used to be on HGTV. Weren't you one of the HGTV guys at one time?
Yeah, I had the good fortune to do House Detective for about 4 years and then on to Finders, Fixers. But they told me when I got old and bald, they were looking for handsome young guys like yourself, Preston.
Yeah, and I got on there, and they filmed me, not on House Detective, but I was on My First Sale. And they filmed me for 3 hours doing a complete home inspection. And I got to sit down with the buyer. They filmed all that. And then, they told me when the show was going to be. I told every relative I had, every realtor I had. And out of that 3 hours of filming me, it was like 8 seconds. 8 seconds. Yeah. I was like, aren't you supposed to get 15? Golly, it was embarrassing. But you better believe I've got that 8 seconds, though. And I've got it, and I put it everywhere. So people know when it says HGTV down at the bottom. But anyway,
It's as seen on HGTV, Preston.
there you go.
Or you can say as seen on HGTV. Good
That's
on you.
right. Well, and speaking of which, I won't steal your thunder. I know what you're going to be talking about, but I'll let you explain to somebody who doesn't know or a would-be person. Why should they come and listen to you, and what you're going to be talking about, Wally?
Well, more important than listening to me, it's listening to everyone else. And what's so neat about what Nathan's put together on the tour is 4 guys who know each other. We've all known each other for a bit of time, but very, very different. We're different in geography, different in how we started in the business, different in how long we've been in the business, and very candidly and transparently share how we got from 0 to wherever we are. So in the case of Sean Rosbach, you've mentioned, new to the business, Preston. He makes guys like you and I, look like slackers. Started his business in 2016, $2.2 million in 2018.
Makes me angry. Makes me look bad.
But when you have an open mind and you sit and you listen to a new guy into the business, whether you're an old guy or a new guy, you can't argue with $0 to $2 million. So I like that a lot. And then when you look at what Rob Lemoyne from Atlanta brings to the party, there's a guy who's in one sense similar to us old dogs. He's been at it a long time, family business for a long time, pest control for a long time, but very candidly, much like myself, for a long time didn't have exemplary results. And then over the last year or two, made changes in the business, added more than $1 million to his business in 2018. That's the kind of things that guys who have been static or stagnant for a long time can really learn from. And then what you and Dave have put together with Inspected Houses, totally different, changing the culture of real estate. It's stuff you don't hear anywhere else or see anywhere else, shared in a very transparent way. And then I have my little part that I do, but it all blends together. So no matter whether it's a guy's a new guy or an old guy, a guy doing 50 grand a year or a guy doing $2, $3, $4 million a year, there's some really sage, you could call it advice or just creative and different ways of thinking about the business. Because here's what we know, Preston. It's changing faster now than it's ever changed before. And if we're not changing with it, it will change without us, and we're going to get left behind.
Absolutely. Well, my next question, I'm gonna pass it to both of you. One of you answer it, and then the other one answer it. I agree with everything you say. Let's say I'm a one-man shop, and there's nothing wrong with that. I appreciate the fact that you guys are multi-inspector, multi-million-dollar companies, but all I want to be is a one-man shop. But what's in it for me? I mean, I don't want to build to a thing, but I want to be a successful one-man shop. Or I am a multi-level inspector, and I do want to meet. I mean, should both people come, and what's in it for both people?
Well, in my mind, absolutely. No matter what changes, Preston, there's always going to be a place for that one-person company. What's going to change, though, for the one-person company is how you run that business. And here's what I've seen over the 25 years. One-man companies struggle with one of two things. They either live in poverty, and that's not good, or they work so many hours during the week that they have no life. And even if they never have the aspiration to have multi-inspector, which I totally respect, they can pull pieces from what we're doing so that they can earn more money, streamline their businesses, and be able to have time to spend the money that they're earning. It's about lifestyle.
Yeah, I was both of those as a single man. I was the one living in poverty, and then I started making some money, but I had no life.
Exactly. But so many guys, Preston, they don't realize that. They believe that the only way to get out of poverty is to work 7 days a week and 20 hours a day in total chaos. And you and I both know guys doing 200, 300. We actually know one guy together. I won't share his name in this format, doing $400,000 a year as a one-person company.
Wow.
That's okay.
Yeah. Well, there's some days, I mean, I love being, on vacation or something, and I'm still looking at ISN. I mean, that's a great feel. And I didn't like it when I was a single man. And if I wasn't actually burning calories, I wasn't making any money. But there's other times when, I get a complaint call. He said, what? That I think, being a one-man shop's not so bad. So I'm going to point that same question to you, Nathan. If somebody wants to be a one-man shop, and that's perfectly fine, how can this tour, the show, improve them as well as the multi-level inspector?
Well, I see on our video, and I don't know how you're going to format this. You're just going to see one of us at a time, or all three. But I see Wally took a drink, so I'm in. I didn't realize this was a drinking event.
I don't have any alcohol within reach. I just have a Diet Coke.
That's just the water anyway, but we'll pretend it's something else.
Yeah.
So, to me, there's a matter of creating a long line for that one-man inspector shop. And, I think there's no hiding it. The reason we have these superstars on this tour is because they're all $1 million and up companies. They're all companies that are still hitting, which is so rare in that $1 million and up category. Even today, I mean, there's probably less than 10 companies in the whole world that are doing this, where they're hitting that $1 million and up and still accomplishing double-digit growth in their business. That is incredibly rare. A few people got there. They got to the $1 million or they got to the $2 million, but not many, took it and keep it going. So there's a reality, and that's that you guys are pumping your business like it's a startup. You are the biggest little home inspection companies in town, even when you are the juggernaut. So, the way that you're approaching it are very different ways, very different ways, excuse me. And that's a big part of this tour. This is not, the Nathan show. I don't get up and talk the whole time. It's all about 4 different approaches to the home inspection business that work for anybody, regardless of your size.
All right, next question, and I'll direct this one to you, Nathan, and come back to Wally. I know a lot of inspectors are probably out there going, yeah, sounds good, but it's probably just going to be a pitch fest. Just, buy Nathan stuff, buy inspected houses stuff. What value, or is there walk-away value and actionable items somebody can walk away with from coming to this, even if they didn't, obviously, I'd love for them to sign up for inspected houses, but I'm going to give some actionable tips. Whether you do that or not, I'm going to give value, and I know that you guys are too, but I'm going to give you an opportunity to tell us, why should I come? Is it just going to be a pitch fest? That sort of thing.
Let me start on that one, then we'll go to Wally. So even on the inspected houses thing, I think, the last 3 stops of the tour, I just bought everybody in the room 3 months of it. So, there wasn't really anything for them to buy. And, there's a reality too, is that, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, this would be a different story. But today, there isn't a room that we go into where we don't have, 30, 50, or even 75% or more of the room as clients. There's nothing for us to go and pitch you. So if you think, that this is just a pitch fest for our stuff, no, it's not. Our reality in business right now is that, we already largely have, the big companies, the ones that are in the real estate offices, the ones that are marketing hard, the ones that are hoofing it every day. A lot of them are customers of the Inspector Services Group. So, today our focus is shifting from gaining, new clients to taking existing clients, which, there's going to be a lot of them in these rooms, and that's fine. And there's going to be guys that's open to all that are not, and some that never will be. And that's totally cool. Our goal for you in that room is to promote your business in a way that you get more volume or are able to take your price up, or both. And that's a benefit for everybody in the industry.
Good. Wally, same question to you.
Well, I would share this with full disclosure. I use every single one of the ISG products. If they have a product I don't use, I don't know what it is. So basically, I use them all. I also use inspected houses to much gain. Just since the first of the year, we have schooled more than 200 agents in Jacksonville, Florida, on the Client Protection Expert Program, and then rolled that into inspection houses as a real value add for the agents. So I'm a big fan of what both of you fine gentlemen offer me to grow my business. But I would say this, I'm 63 years old. There's a boatload of guys my age and older in the home inspection business, and they haven't figured out yet, or it hasn't been shared with them yet, what do you do next? That ladder keeps looking taller. Those tools keep getting heavier. That crawl space keeps getting tighter. And unless until you start thinking about what you're doing next, you're going to be stuck with this thing. And here's the God's truth, Preston. You've seen this with a lot of guys you've been close to over the years. Most home inspectors, as they get toward their 50s, 60s, and 70s, can't figure out what to do with their business. So they just turn off the phone one day and it's gone. 10 years, 20 years. You've seen it, Preston. 10, 20, 30 years of work, of relationships, and they've got nothing to show for it in the end. I believe people should come out and hang out with us with an open mind. Is it inspected houses, ISG products? Maybe, but at least get around some people who are thinking about business, who are thinking about business after they're ready to put down the flashlight and creating value that they can get from their business even after they stopped inspecting.
Awesome. Now, I'm going to ask both of you guys in a minute to share one success actionable item that inspectors that listen to this podcast or watch it on the YouTube can use. So, because I always want to give value. So something simple that they can use in your experience. But while you're thinking about what you're going to say, I'm going to tell a story. If you guys haven't read The Happy Home Inspector by Wally Conway, go get it. And it helps me in explaining things. Wally has a way of explaining things like nobody else. I use his Thunderbird story all the time. He's got this story in there where he's like, my dream car, and mine is too, by the way, 57 Thunderbird. You know, if you're not familiar with the 55, 56, 57 Thunderbird were two-seaters. And, classic, probably $50,000 or more. Beautiful, beautiful cars. Never understood why they cost more and they use less metal, but anyway. But here's what he says about it all the time. You know, because when you inspect an older home, you know, and you talk about GFCIs, you know, all the safety things, he says, you know, my dream car is a 57 Thunderbird. A 57 Thunderbird by today's standards would be a death trap. There's no anti-lock brakes, no airbags, none of that stuff. But if you put that on that car, you would ruin it. So sometimes if you're buying a historical house or something, well, of course, you know, you want smoke detectors and things like that. But it keeps in mind that if you are buying a historical house, you know, if they got that carnival glass or something like that, man, that's valuable. You want that. You don't want the dual pane. You want the original, because if you put all this new stuff on it, I mean, you're going to mess up. It's not what you're buying, you know, so keep that in mind. And I use that. I steal that from Wally all the time. And that's just one of his golden nuggets.
I gave it to you. You didn't steal it.
The Happy Home Inspector. But if you read that book, you'll get a lot of tips on how to explain things and how to improve your business. But speaking of tips, what's an actionable item, anybody listening to this, maybe low-hanging fruit, that someone could do pretty soon and, I don't know, little to no cost?
I'll tell you something, Preston, that we all discovered together on tour last time. You and I and Sean and Rob. I don't know, Nathan was flying, so he wasn't really contributing at this point.
As long as he wasn't drinking and flying.
No, he was not. Absolutely.
No, he's very serious about that.
I believe it was Sean that initiated this, but through research in our own data while we're flying around, it came to mind that 80% on average, 80% of the real estate agents that each of our 4 companies worked with, 80% do 4 or less inspections a year. 80%. Wow. That was mind-boggling. And the other reality was that if you can generate 8 new real estate agent relationships per week, that is 8 new agents use your company, that translates to $1 million. So we took that across all of our companies. So at $1 million, 8 new a week. At 2 million, 16 new a week. At 3 million, 24. At 4 million, it's scaled absolutely across the entire category. And it'll be interesting, Preston, on the tour this year. I really want to get with guys who are who are doing $500,000 or $250,000 or even $100,000 and say, have them go into their Next or go into their ISN and say, how many new agents are you generating per week? And I'll bet that it scales. But the value in that is when you realize the bulk of the dollars do not come from agents doing 100 deals a year. The bulk of the dollars come from that 4 and below. And that when you generate 8 agents a week, you generate $1 million.
Well, plus if you lose, I mean, you know, everybody goes after those big fish, and they're great, but sometimes they're high strung, and if they get pissed off at you, you just lost 30% of your business. Where if you have a whole lot of those other agents, I mean, you're more hedged, I guess is the right word or something.
Well, I won't say who said this. You have to come on out to meet us on the tour, and he'll say it again. But one of the fellows on the tour said, I don't hunt whales. They disrupt my process and cost me money.
Yeah, because they're so demanding and stuff.
Yep.
Hey, hi, I'm Preston Sandlin, and I own Home Inspection Carolina, and I wanted to show you a way that you can get more home inspection leads. So what you can do, you obviously can do a pre-inspection, but I understand some people don't want to do that. But what it is, we set out a sign, and this sign is going to have information about the house. When you text that, you could have information about the house. You could have a home inspection discount. You could also lead them to a website. So this is my daughter, Sarah Margaret. Say hi.
Hi.
So Sarah Margaret, you pretend like you're buying this house, and I want you to text. You're riding by, doing a kiki dance, whatever, and you see, hey, I'm interested in this house. I'd like you to text info to that number, okay?
Okay.
So go ahead and do that now. She's interested in the house. So for more information on this house, she's going to text that. And a home inspection discount. Okay, so I just got the lead in the buyer. Now, you should get something in a second. So what'd you get? So click on the top one there, yeah. So you'll see what she gets. So she's going to get information about the house. And meanwhile, I got the lead. All right, so scroll up just a little bit. Yeah, there you go. So there's like a little video about the house. Of course, your phone's really slow. There's multiple pictures of the house and whatnot. And well, there goes the video finally. I'm gonna have to edit this a little bit. But the cool thing is, read what it says there. Read that out loud, Samara.
This is a demo house. It is not for sale. It is for demonstration purposes only. Information about the house would go here if this house was actually for sale. If you are interested in getting a home inspection, call 704-542-6575 with the code HIC 2018. You can receive a $23 discount on a home inspection on this house or any house you decide to buy in this area. Discount code HIC 2018. 704-542-6575.
Okay. Now, well, I talk a little bit. Text that same number, text info1. You can just use the same number, text info1 now. So what I'm going to do is show you how we did a couple of other things with it. But again, the whole thing is to drive leads. Now I have the lead and I can follow up with her. She's a potential buyer. I can do a drip campaign. Let me go one. Now click on that. What you got for no, top there. Edit this. See how there's a discount code there. Home inspection discount. All right, last one. Go back to that same text and text info 3. So this is something of value that's not a discount code. It's an inspection list. So I can put that sign anywhere. And again, see, I'm getting the lead. So I'll click on here to the lead. And you see, I just got these leads. Is your number 704-7? Oh, I better not say that out loud because guys will be calling you. But obviously, all right. So did you do info 3? Mm-hmm. All right, now click on that top one and make show what that shows on there. So all 3, I captured the lead. I did information about the house with a home inspection discount. I can connect it to a URL that has a home inspection discount, a URL with a something giveaway, a checklist, radon information, you name it. but we capture the lead. So everybody who texts this, we get that home inspection lead. They're going to need a home inspection. They're also going to need probably a realtor. So the realtor is going to like us as well. So check out inspectedhouses.com. It's a new way to get leads for your home inspection business and leads for the realtor as well. Thank you.
Well, what say you, Nathan? Do you have an actionable item or insight that guys listening to this could take use in their business in the next week or so?
Well, I'll give you an easy one, and one that isn't necessarily, something on the tour, something just for your listeners. But this one is so simple. Every single inspection that you do involves, in large part, probably 98% of them at least, involve not just a buyer's agent, but a listing agent, somebody who has that house up for sale. And I think it's just so simple, and it's just a simple free thing that anyone can go into their administrative system, whatever that might be, and program a simple thank you note to the listing agent. Tell them that you're happy to be a part of the transaction, and thank them for any of their help involved. Sometimes they have to give you access, or even if centralized showings service does that, fine. But I think that's a pretty easy one. Now, if you want to take that another step, and this would cost you literally nothing, there are two other guys with their video, Preston over there, Wally down there. I think that's where you guys are. It's where you are on mine anyways. But between these two guys, over 40,000 emails just between these two guys have been sent out to listing agents with a copy of a recall check report, even when the buyer didn't release the inspection report, which is perfectly fine. It's easy, it's free, and it's automatic. So, you kind of show a little bit of why you're different than the other guy, and then you hit them with the thank you note too. That would be a pretty good idea for almost anybody in the home inspection business.
Awesome. So let me see if I got this straight. What times do each show start around?
You're gonna make me open this again. Yes. All right. So there's only one that has a different time. So we're gonna be in Houston from 3 to 6 p.m. on Tuesday, the 26th. Charleston, South Carolina, then February 27th from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. And then in Orlando from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Thursday, February the 28th.
So all of them with the exception of Orlando. I mean, I'm just thinking like back, when I was inspecting my house, I could still do 2 inspections that day and still come out. Orlando.
You could. We don't even care how you smell. I mean, you can come however you're dressed, however you're smelling.
Spider webs in your hair, something like that. Well, in Orlando, they have a lot of slabs. So actually, in Houston, I think they do too.
Well, that's because it's water 6 inches under the ground.
Yeah. Now, Charleston, they're gonna have a lot of crawl space. Charleston's actually pretty close to me. So tell me, all right, if I'm in Orlando, Nathan, Wally, you're asking me to come to this. I'm going to lose an inspection time because it's at 12 and I can do an inspection. So, man, you're telling me that all the stuff you're bringing is worth more than, $450, $500. Is that true? And why should I do that instead of doing that? Why should I come to your show instead of?
I'll give you a reason, because if other people in your market are hanging out with us, what we're sharing with them is how to take your business. So if you're not there, reason. We're plotting to take your stuff.
All right, well, keep going while I think of my next question.
All right, I'll keep going for you. Number one, I don't think that you should consider this losing one inspection. I would say if you live within 200 miles of any of these events, it would be worth the trip for the day. So call that 2 or even 3 inspections, depending on how many you do. Now, how do I know it's going to be absolutely worth it for you? Well, I've seen the presentations from these guys, and gosh, 3 or 4 of only 10 people that have ever gone above $1 million and still had double-digit growth. Yeah, I think that's not going to have a return on investment for you. I mean, come on, don't be nuts. But as far
let me
as
share this with you too, Nathan. You'll remember this. Our Vince here in Florida, he lives out toward DeLand or Daytona. When we were on tour in the fall, he drove to Orlando, flew to Atlanta for the day, and then flew home. So no matter where you are, in one or more of these cities, you can get in and out in the same day, even by airplane. We have people flying from all over the country. So the idea that, oh gosh, I'll miss an inspection, that's silly. That's small thinking.
Well, I will tell you,
and we guaranteed, not only do we have these drawing items, which are worth, in total probably $2,500, but everybody in the room gets $500 worth of credit towards various things that we offer. And even if you're not, a user of our 90-day warranties or Sewer Guard or any of that stuff, even if you don't dig that, it's not your gag, fine. Go to inspectorshop.net. You'll find 5,000 SKUs of stuff that inspectors use, tools, etc. Go to inspectorlab.com. We have the largest lab in the home inspection industry, the fastest service, and we're going to give you a credit towards that as well. Or go to inspectionsuccess.net and look at services like a call center that's open 24/7. It's not exclusive to users of any particular service. So you're going to find a way to spend that $500, and there's a reason we deal with such a large percentage of the industry. So you're going to get your money back. The downside risk is very, very low.
Preston, I think it would be great to have an honest, sincere, personal invite to the doubters and the haters. We had some doubters and haters who were in Dallas with us last time, and they got to spend time with you and Rob and Sean and myself and even good old Nathan, and see some of these things in a different context. There's a lot of nonsense that goes on in the home inspection universe, in various forums and chat rooms, and it really jades the value that you can bring back to your own business. So if you've been watching some of this nonsense go on, come on out, say hello, hear it from my perspective, hear it from Sean, hear it from Preston or Rob, and a little bit of Nathan's perspective. But you'll see things differently when you see successful people working together with different business models and different mindsets, yet focused on profitability, taking care of their families, and building nice companies.
Absolutely. Well, and I want to add to that. We went on this tour before, different cities. Well, actually, we did do one of the same. But anyway, I, initially went because Nathan said, he'd give me an opportunity. And, I use products too. I could talk about inspected houses, which I do think is a good value. But what I realized after I got on the tour was, I was around some other guys that were absolute master marketers. And I'm a pretty good marketer. I'll just be honest with you. I think I am. But these guys do it in totally different ways. And so, I know what I do, and I can keep, but man, it was so many different things. Like Rob, he has these marketing people, and man, the follow-up. As soon as I got home, I was like, we got to do what Rob's doing. And, we immediately, went on the hunt for marketing people and got, wrote out job descriptions and stuff. And, and it's changing. Like Wally said, used to be walked into offices and brought some candy, and I still do that. A couple of cards, you'd get business, but less and less people are going to the office, and there's new ways to touch the realtors, new ways to touch well, that might not sound quite right, but you understand what I'm saying. There's new ways to, we want to be in front of their eyeballs and have their attention. And a lot of it's going digital. A lot of it's still old phone, phone calls, pick up the phone, but just being around these guys, and that's what I think the value is for somebody coming to this. I mean, you're going to be around some guys that are really good at bringing in the business. And it's not just bringing in the business. I always get that. Sometimes I hear that, speaking of hate, like, oh, you're just about the marketing and churn and burn. And I'm like, you know, the silly pants, the happy home inspector, that only gets them to use you once. That only gets them to use you once. But when you got agents that used you 73 times, 23 times, 48 times, you had to be doing quality work. Just because you market doesn't mean you're doing quality work. And I want to say that right now. I'm going to go off on a tangent. They are not one or the other. You can be good at marketing and you can be good at having quality home inspection. I always hear this all the time. Oh, they're just marketing. They don't do a good job, or vice versa. You know, honestly, you got to have both. You got to have both.
Can I add to that, Preston, in a way
Sure.
that I think many need to hear, and some won't like it, but that's the kind of, you know, stuff I say. If you're not marketing and you have a product, there's no way to know if it's a quality product or not because you haven't put yourself out there. The best way to get a bad product to fail is to market it very, very well.
Yeah.
And, you know, people in the Charlotte market where you're at, they know that you do a great job because you do it so many times, and because you're right there, you're in their offices, you're feeding them lunch, you know, you're staring them in the face. If you know, didn't operate your business very, very well, do an excellent job, you know, not go out and, you know, miss things that are there or find things that aren't there,
Yeah.
or report it properly or any of those things, you know, you would be crushed very, very quickly. There are a lot of home inspectors out there that have products, and I don't mean that they inspect badly. I don't mean they don't find shit. They do, but they might have a product that isn't that good to consumers. Maybe if more consumers saw it or more agents saw it, you know, they would look at it and go, ooh, you know, this doesn't really work well in the transaction. This isn't conducive to making a transaction happen. You know, and again, I'm not talking about whether the defects are there or not. Let's just assume there's only one story on that. You know, putting it the right way, having it in the right format. You know, you can have a bad product and not know it because not enough people have experienced it to tell you how bad it is.
Right. Right.
Let me share a thought too, Preston, if I may.
Sure.
Very often guys get a little jaded and they say, oh, it's more of the same. I've heard all that stuff before. I want to share two things about that. One, you and Rob and Sean and Nathan, from when we did this in the fall, I sat and took notes the whole time each of you were presenting. And we did that 3 cities last year, and you know, in the fall. I had different notes each time I listened. It comes off different each time. You're in a different place. You have a different mindset. You hear different things. And the other thing is, each time we were in a different room, we had a different group of guys in there, a different group of inspectors. There were nuggets coming out of the crowd. There were people asking questions that stimulated thoughts we never had before. There were guys offering, well, what abouts, what ifs, or I'm doing that. So it's really a greatest hits of home inspection nuggets from people around the country that were just carrying from city to city. And the honest thing that I have to say is I get more out of it than any single attendee ever could.
Yeah, I got a lot out. And honestly, I didn't think about that when I first joined up, you know, and I would go even if I could just hang out with you guys and I wasn't pushing my product, but that didn't sound right. But our product's good too, but it really is a synergy. And the fact that you can be in the room with these guys and other guys and ask them questions. I mean, Wally will even give you an autograph. I mean,
well, hey, look, you know, and I'll help correct what you just said a little bit for anyone watching this. You know, there's really like maybe a 2 or 3 minute pitch for inspected houses during your presentation there, but you know, there's a lot of stuff that Preston Sandlin does that people can learn from. And you know, if you aren't getting a lot of material out into a lot of hands, and you want to know where do you start with that, what should your metrics be? You know, those are the kind of things that you should be looking for and listening for in Preston's conversations, whether you buy into the Inspected Houses program or any warranties or anything.
Yeah, exactly. And it's this isn't, for anybody out there listening, this is not a technical, we're not going to be talking technical stuff or inspecting stuff. And there is a place
for the
that.
wrong guys.
Yeah, and it's great, but this is about improving your business. And the great thing, and I'll ask your opinion on this, a lot of guys first start out and they join their local thing. And sometimes there's guys that'll help them, but sometimes not so much, especially when it's their local thing. What's your thought about that, Wally? And then I'll come back to Nathan. When the guys join their local thing and want to get help, and sometimes they'll get help, but sometimes not. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I've always been involved locally. I was involved locally with Ashy for decades, involved locally with Nachi. I actually run 2 chapters. So I'm a big fan of local collaboration. Frankly, it makes a lot of people uncomfortable. Like, well, why are you sharing? Why are you telling me stuff? And being an old Navy guy, my mindset is a rising tide lifts all boats. So I'm not concerned if you know what I'm doing or what Preston's doing, because if we're all pushing at each other in a positive way, we all get better, our businesses get stronger, our fees get higher. It's the race to the bottom that destroys businesses. It's not great competitors, it's crappy competitors that are the problem.
How about you, Nathan? What do you say about that?
Well, I think generally home inspectors are ridiculously good to their local guy. In my world, in the warranty world, it's a little bit more cutthroat because there's only 10 of us that have licensing nationally. Not to say that we don't have salespeople go back and forth between our companies, but when we do, it's like a blood war. With those local chapters, I'd like to say something about that. If you're looking for help on how to be technically proficient, there are some great chapters that bring in the right kind of technical content, and they bring in the right kind of people, and those are the kind of chapters that you want to be a part of. I think there's also a culture in chapters. I look at, and I've spoken at nearly every chapter of every association there is, and some of them have a culture of sharing, of rising tides, and some of them have a culture that's a little bit different. Like, you're here to be a part of this union, and you have to put in your work before we respect you, or whatever. Just kind of that nonsense, and that isn't good. So you're going to figure out really quickly when you start working with your local competition or going to your local association or local events, whether it's one that is good for your business or bad for your business. And if it seems like it's bad for your business, if it seems like you're not going to grow from it in more than just the technical sense, then just go find another chapter. There's one nearby.
I want to echo what you said, and I'm not down on local chapters and stuff like that. In fact, mine is really good with the technical stuff. I just sort of ran into when I was trying to get business advice on how to improve my business. Guys in my own backyard, some like in Wally, some of them do help, but some not so much. So that would be a lot what this is, because and I'm sure Wally's got to a point, Rob's got to a point, Sean's got to a point where they don't kind of have that scarcity mentality anymore. But on top of that, you're in a different market, so they're going to talk very freely either way. I do want to give the people a little value. I know we're talking primarily about that tour, but a couple of different things. I hear a lot of guys worry about Cheap Charlie, and it seems like there's sort of a puppy mill of inspectors coming out now. And I'm not trying to talk bad. I mean, we all had to start and had our first day somewhere. But it seems like, and even in my own market, I heard everybody else talk about it forever. And I was like, well, it's not happening in our market. And then the other day, it's like, any house, $275. Any house?
Yep.
Guys, I mean, obviously, people can charge whatever they want. It is a free country. And I'm an entrepreneurial. But, when you get in that game, and Wally kind of said it, race to the bottom of competing on price. What's your thoughts on that, and what should they compete on? And if I'm a guy that's like, Nathan, Wally, I got this guy in my market that, he'll do any house, 275. Should I go down on my prices? Or what should I do? What's your answer?
I'll let Wally go first.
I'm not the guy who's ever going to the bottom. I'm the guy who's lifted the market in my area. For virtually every market in the country, let me go this way. If you're in a market that's got 1 million people, that translates to about 20,000 houses. In particular, if you're a one-person company and you want to do 500 a year, let's just say, or 400 a year, you're still under 1%. You're barely 1% of the market. And the idea that some doofus who wants to work for $199, there's plenty of places to play as a high-cost leader. So ignore what the people are doing around you, set the value how you believe it is, deliver value, and market to the people that you want. Because it only takes 2, 3, 5, 10% of the market to be very, very, very successful, and ignore the other 90%.
How about you, Nathan?
I would love to be able to say that, but we deal with a very large part of the industry, so I can't actually ignore it. There is a reality.
You and I've had this debate over the years. I know I'm the anti-person, but
no, we're actually not that far apart.
Everyone. There's a place for everyone.
But I'll tell you, you got to hit these cheap guys where they can't hit you back. And here's 2 ways that you can do that, and feel free to compete with us in this regard too. But one way is, if you have actual overhead in your business, because you're out there, in silly pants marketing with 15,000 brochures a month that have that have warranties all over them that cost you money, and you delivered a bunch of lunches for people that were, in many cases not even clients. Right. That's an overhead that is going to push you over the $199 rate. It's also going to push anyone who's delivering that level of service over the $199 rate. So, anything that you can do to take the standards and move them up, that's going to separate yourself from the cheap Charlie in a way that is describable by something other than price. Because if it's only price you can describe it by, then people just go, well, that guy's offering me a really good deal, and I like good deals. I get good deals on Amazon, and when I used to walk into Walmart, I got good deals there too. So people don't see that you get what you pay for kind of thing, like many technical people, particularly those in the home inspection industry, would. I would say there's one other place where the $199 guy lives. He lives in Google ad space. And I want to say this, and I'll say this publicly. In the last week, each day, we displaced something like 50 to 100,000 views every single day on those $199 guys and on the Home Advisor ads with Google AdWords in the top 150 markets. And that's just something that we're going to keep expanding and referring off to our clients, educating those home buyers on what an inspection should look like and what they should come to expect, because they do get a different product with Preston or Wally than they get with the $199 guy.
Cool.
Let me have a short conversation with a $199 guy. I truly respect their desire to get busy, because so often that guy at $199 or $200, it doesn't matter what the number is, the guy who's the low cost leader, but the mindset is, for a new guy who's working cheap, I'm going to get in cheap, I'm going to get busy, and then raise my prices. My observation, and if yours is different, Preston, or yours is different, Nathan, let me know. The guy that gets in cheap, you can never escape that.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's half right. I'd love to. I would say yes, to a large extent. You're going to attract the kind of business that will stay at the lower end, but you're not totally hopeless. I mean, you can start upgrading into packages and stuff, and then eventually phase out that side of the business. I mean, I think there's a lot of people that are in,
they'll change the customer base when they do that.
They will, for sure.
They need to understand that. Those
But
same
let's
people.
be honest. I used to go around and put out price sheets for my parents' home inspection company, which is one of the largest in the country. And today, they hit a very nice average price point. Something that is more along the lines of where Wally's at than anybody. I think pretty darn
That
close.
was 30 years in the making, and I totally
Yes.
respect it. You know that, but I'm really speaking to the guy who he's in it for the last year or two, saying, "Gosh, I'll get in at $200, and as soon as I get to 400 inspections a year, I'll start climbing." That's a long, slow climb, if ever.
I'm just playing devil's advocate here, because I think if I was to ask both of you if you had a piece before we knew each other, before we had met officially, or unofficially, either way, did you have a price sheet like I had that I was pushing out there all over the place? Yeah, either of you pushing out price sheets back in the day?
I
Yeah,
did.
Preston?
Did
Did you, Wally? At any
No, I
time
never
that you
did.
put out price sheets? You never did? Okay. So that surprises me, because most guys are in the category, the ones that are, 20 and 30 inspectors and up, they're in the category of Preston and Patty. They put out price sheets that said something like, probably your first one said, what year did you start, Preston?
98, 97, 98.
Okay, so let me guess. The prices started probably around $225 for your inspection. 0 to 1,500 square feet. How far off am I?
185. That was a long time ago. Yeah.
Do as I say, not as I do, gentlemen. All of you cheap
I
Charlie
didn't
trying to
No.
build what I have now.
Termite
I
was 50.
took
Termite
the
was 50.
opposite place. Here was I started in 94. Here was my mindset. I said, we want to be high at the low end and low at the high end, meaning I wanted to get maximum dollar at the low end and then be cheap at the 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 foot house to drive more high-end business and drive our average fee higher and higher by attracting high-end business. And if we had to do low end, then we were going to be a little bit more expensive.
It's good
Interesting.
good conversation. Well, I want to preview. I don't want to give away too much. I know what the guys are going to talk about, but like Wally said, every city, even though I knew what Wally was going to say, I knew what Sean was going to say, I knew what Rob was going to say, it came out different, and I got something different, actionable item to take home. And I'll promise anybody listening, I mean, I would travel to see some of these guys talk, and if it's coming right to your city, I mean, and it's kind of free, sort of, I think, from what Nathan said. You get lunch and you get some Q&A with them. I mean, dude, I would do it in a minute. I mean, why aren't y'all coming to Charlotte? So, no, don't come.
Wait a second. Now that's a good talking point.
But no, don't come to Charlotte.
No, hold on. Now we got to talk about that, because it's no secret. There's about 20 dudes or so that show up to any post about warranties, like sex offenders at a Why Don't We concert, and there's certain people that also go out, and on the flip side, there's 20 or 30 that are like offended at those guys. Okay, so you kind of get this, both sides of that. But you'll notice the person that never comes out. I always get a message from a great user that's like in the market, because once a month somebody discovers that warranties and we exist. They find our website, and then on that same day they discover the internet too, and they go online and they go on a Facebook group of home inspectors and they post, "Hey, I just found out about this thing and it looks really good. Like, my clients would love this. Has anyone had a," and then 600 comments later, we haven't learned anything really. But the guy that's in the local market would never hop on there and go, "Yeah, this is like kind of how I'm taking all your clients." So you really don't want us to come to Charlotte then, Preston? That's the best testimonial I have right there.
Yeah, don't come to my market. I don't want to eat. Thought about it. I wouldn't have to travel, but then again, I'm like, whoa, I don't want all my buddies.
Well, just so you know, wherever we go, we are we're hitting everybody. I mean, like, if you're watching this and you haven't heard of this tour, seriously, where have you been? I hit your mailbox twice. If you're within 200 miles of one of these cities, and you're a member of anything out there, or you have a license, or you have hit the public records or my records in any way, we've sent you a postcard twice and we've called you once. We probably sent you an email 3 times. You probably have heard of this. And we encourage you to drive if you're, again, within 200 miles, you're good. We'd love to do one in Charlotte or just outside of Charlotte. But when we do it, it's going to bring in, the folks from Georgia. So hopefully.
So I'm going to give you guys both a hypothetical. Let's suppose there's somebody out there that hates Preston. Damn, Preston gets on my nerves. He's obnoxious. He says all this. I'm not going to that because I don't like Preston. What would you say to that person if they I'm not the only one there, and okay, you don't like me, I get it. Should they still come? I mean, would they still get value?
I couldn't communicate with that guy because I think I blocked him on my cell a couple months ago. Finally, are you talking about somebody specific here, or
no? Just a hypothetical person, or they hate Wally or something. I can't stand Wally. I'm not.
Come and have fun. Why would you stay at home there, tough guy? Come, face me. If somebody hates my guts, wants to come there and challenge me right in the room, I invite it. I'm going to be buying you lunch. I'm going to be buying you drinks. I do actually keep it, somewhat respectful. But if you are like belligerent, that's awesome. That's just more material. It makes it more entertaining for everyone in the room.
Well, any closing thoughts, you guys, or anything else that we haven't talked about that we should have? Anything y'all can think
For
of?
me, I'm just really looking forward to it, Preston. You and I have been doing stuff together for at least 15 years. It's always a joy to be with you. I appreciate that. It's just so much fun to candidly share ideas, get a bunch of people in the room, and a little bit to your point, to Nathan's point. If you've been uncomfortable with you or me or Nathan or Sean, nobody's uncomfortable with Rob. Rob's just wonderful.
He's smooth guy.
Just come on out. We still may not be wine drinking buddies together. That's okay. But learn more things about your business. If you dislike somebody, the best thing you can do is steal their stuff and take it back to your business. So that'll be great.
It's a good idea. Any closing thoughts, Nathan?
Yeah, come and get the stuff that you like and leave the stuff that you don't. Anything that we can do to improve the industry is better. And along those lines, if you have not registered, go to inspectionsuccess.net/live. And if you're seeing this, we might even still be touring. Depending on how many years in the future this is still alive and on the internet, we all 3 of us might still be alive touring. We don't know.
I hope so.
But go to inspectionsuccess.net/live, and you'll see any upcoming events we have. You can register right online, and it's pretty much like Preston said, free for just about the entire home inspection world. And if $100 is too much, email me, nathan@nathan.tv. And I will just plug one last thing, because we will have some highlights from this tour along with some other content that we have online. If you'd ever heard of one of our Power User Conference or the Inspection Super Conference or any of the continuing education we did, including advanced courses that went beyond the basic electrical 101 you're used to, we have that all online and cataloged at homeinspectionuniversity.com. And that is a free resource. And when I say free resource, every single home inspector, every single employee home inspector, everyone who's thinking about inspecting as a vocation can go there and take anything from a 60-hour new agent course to very specific technical courses and marketing courses and business courses, all free. And we will have some highlights and segments from this up on the site as well at some point.
All right, so tell us the cities and dates and times one more time, and then the site one more at the end.
One more time, it's inspectionsuccess.net/live, and that's where you'll get to the tour. Tuesday, February 26th, we're in Houston from 3 to 6 p.m. Wednesday, February the 27th in Charleston from 3 to 6 p.m. And then Thursday, February 28th, we're in Orlando from 12 noon to 3 p.m. Free food and drink drawings, $500 worth of giveaways for everybody in the room. And if you really hate the event, please come, decide why you hate it, think real hard, and then go online and post why you hated it so much. Tag me.
Well, and I heard a rumor that you could probably catch these guys in the bar around the thing, and if you buy one of them a beer, you could probably ask them some questions. So, if you want to be around some guys who've been in this business, well, most of us a good while, except for Sean, who's built a huge business in a small amount of time. I mean, but they certainly know how to build a home inspection business. And for me personally, I can tell you everything to do wrong. I was successful by process of elimination. But I can be bought with a beer, and I'd be happy to answer any question, including what not to do. And I think,
well,
does that room
they'll have
hold
to stick
for you as
around,
well?
right? They'll have to stick around right afterwards and find us everywhere but the Charleston event, because I'm pretty sure that right after Charleston, we're heading down to Orlando.
Okay, all right. Well,
But other than that, yeah, find
buy
us.
some mimosa then. Well, thank you guys. What's the website? One more time. You said it again.
InspectionSuccess.net/live.
Awesome. And obviously, you can Google, if you want to know more about Wally, you can Google Wally. You can Google his package. No, I'm just kidding. That's what his whole presentation's on. Rob Lemoyne or Sean Rush. I never can pronounce his last name.
Rossbach. And we actually have bios and a little bit about what they're talking about on that site as well as handsome pictures. Yours is actually in a tux for some reason.
That was, yeah. Did you get the pants, the crazy pants in there?
No, the pants are cut off. You can only see the tux. You're the most overdressed inspector ever.
I got some new pants for the store. So, all right. Well, thank you guys, and I will see you next week.
All right. See you.
Bye now.
Let me.